I'm Addison Smith with Campus Reform. We are here at the streets of Georgetown University today to get students' reactions to some of the craziest tweets, craziest comments that professors have made. Do students think that professors are actually able to completely separate their politics from the classroom? No animosity, no bias whatsoever? Let's find out. So a lot of students oftentimes complain about professors bringing their personal politics into the classroom. Have you guys experienced this, or do you think that that's a problem at all?
Well, I've definitely experienced it. I mean, we go to Georgetown, everything's political, let's be honest here.
I'm in the business school, and I personally haven't seen it as much as other people have talked about it. But I know friends that don't take business school classes, a lot of them have complained and said that they often can only express like one typical viewpoint.
I think that it's mostly a good thing, so I don't have issue.
I think most professors will keep their politics outside of the classroom.
I think it's normal, because everyone has their own opinion on politics, obviously. So I think in class, it's professional to keep it out of the conversation, just to be respectful. But in private, everybody can talk about their opinions.
Do you trust?
Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I'm your guest, Dr. Nasir. And as you can see, what we have on tap for you is checking out with these woke social justice warrior students, virtue signaling again, about how their professors, you know what, they make these comments, these extreme comments. Let's see what they think about them when they actually see some of those comments. Let's go to that video. We're going to do that right now.
Do you trust your professors or professors in general that they'll be impartial to students, that they won't, let it affect how they grade them or how they treat them?
No, I think there's always going to be some degree of bias.
I do. At Georgetown, everything is political, and I think that if you make everything political, then you have to kind of be partial when you are grading other students, because you know that they do have other opinions that aren't the same as yours. We are a very liberal campus, and when you have students...
One thing also we have to mention, obviously this was done during the time, probably during COVID, obviously, but people are going to be looking back on this years later. I'm looking at it right now, all right, in 2023. But people are going to look at 5, 6, 7 years in the future. They're going to go 10 years in the future. They're going to go, what? You were outside and you're wearing a freaking mask. Outside. Look at this guy here. I don't know if you can see that. This guy right here, he's wearing a freaking mask. They're outside, folks. It's unbelievable. How stupid are we?
Who don't necessarily share the same views as professors, and then they're being treated differently in class, or their opinions are being treated differently in class. It's very obvious to everyone.
And I don't think at the end of the day anyone's going to be graded poorly for just having an opinion. I don't think that's what...
No, of course not. No one's going to be graded poorly for having an opinion. Absolutely not. These professors, we can trust these leftists, right? These lunatics, these leftists, these liberals. We can trust our professors. They're not going to take it personally if you have a view that's completely diametrically opposed to what they have to say, do we? We can trust professors. They're leftists. They're liberals. They're Democrats. They're going to be fair. They're going to be, they're not going to be partial. They'll be impartial, right? Yeah, right.
What we're necessarily about here, for sure.
I feel like they don't influence my personal views. I feel like we can foster really great debate.
Again, look at this. You're outside in the beautiful, beautiful fresh air, right? How far apart are these people? Probably 4 or 5, 6. Masks. Unbelievable, folks.
Without really hurting each other.
I don't see that being something. Maybe there's other professors in the school that do that, but not in my.
The only nice thing about this guy here, he's a leftist with his views probably, okay, but he doesn't have a mask on, so he gets some points right there.
I think all the professors I've met have been pretty good in that area.
Yeah, I think that's what our university stands for, right? Because this is Georgetown, so it's really liberal, and so basically we are really inclusive in terms of different opinions.
Colleges have kind of skewed in one direction on the political spectrum. I feel like there's less tolerance for diverse viewpoint.
I wanted to read to you real quick a few tweets and statements professors have made and get your reactions to it. This is an Iowa State sociology professor And she said, lately I try to limit my interactions with white people as much as possible. I can't with the self-importance and performance, especially during Black History Month. This next one right here is a Mercer theology professor who wrote in a devotional, "Dear God, please help me to hate white people, or at least I want to hate them. At least I want to stop caring about them individually and collectively." We have a Syracuse religion professor who said that conservatism is a euphemism for white supremacy. Then this last one right here is from a Drake English professor who said, "I was just pondering how much hatred I feel towards all the Republican they need to suffer." So you see those tweets, reaction.
That's just, those people are crazy. I mean, I think that's absolutely insane.
Finally, he's not a woke student. No, he's a business major, so maybe that's why, okay? But he's one of the few people out here, okay, that's basically saying these people are absolutely nutjob, lunatic. They're crazy, these professors.
Insane.
That is extreme.
Surprising, but not necessarily shocking. I think it's fair to say that a lot of people feel that way, but it's not necessarily voiced this way on campus here.
It's not appropriate, I guess, to say these things because there's still a platform for professors to voice their opinion.
To this day, none of those professors have been fired. Do you think that they should be?
No.
Why not?
Because they are expressing the point of view of the minority. And I don't think the minority's point of view
They're expressing the point of view of the minority, these leftist lunatic professors, which make up like 98, 99% of the college campuses. Professors are absolutely leftists. They give, in terms of money that they give to left causes, to the Democratic Party, socialist Marxists. This kid is saying that it's a minority opinion. Oh my goodness.
should ever be suffused as much as the harmful majority point of view.
There was another video of a professor saying she hopes Trump supporters die before the election.
And I've become the type of person where I hope they all get hit and die. I'm sorry, but I said to somebody yesterday, I hope they all die before the election.
Let's say you were a Trump supporter and a professor said she hoped all Trump supporters died before the election. Would you feel comfortable with her knowing you were a Trump supporter?
No, of course not, no.
If you were a Trump supporter, would you let her know that in your class or would you try to hide it?
I mean, I would probably try to hide it.
Why?
I would be scared, yeah, for her lashing out towards me. If I had a professor who felt that strongly against my views, I would be uncomfortable taking their class.
There's clearly those professors have deeper issues than just what's being said. They have something messed up in their mind. So
should they be fired?
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's very irresponsible for any university to employ people who can't express their political views in a professional way.
Reading those tweets, it's very much like, I try not to interact with white people. That could be a problem to bring into the classroom because as a white student, of course, I would want you to be able to interact with.
Yeah, you're gonna have to interact with some white students.
I can certainly see why students would feel very uncomfortable in a situation like that.
You saw your professor tweeting that about people that believe things that you believe in and people who are the...
I like to ask him and say, what if you had a professor that says, you know what, I don't want to interact with Japanese people because of World War II, or I don't want to interact with Asian people because of XYZ, or I don't want to act with Indian people because of what's going on, or I don't want to act with Middle Eastern people, or Italian people, or German people, or French people, or people from Norway, or Sweden, or Africa. If they said something like that, I mean, do you know what an uproar there would be? Racism, the R word would be thrown out, B word would be thrown out, bigotry, you're phobia, phobic, whatever you want to put in front of phobic. I mean, everything would be out there. But, you can say all you want. You can say, I want to interact with white people. And then why do YT? Why the cowardly way of putting YT in there? Why not just spell it out? Or maybe this professor's too stupid to spell out white.
Skin color that you are, if you're a white person and conservative, you can't help but think in the back of your mind that they might show some bias towards you in the classroom. Do you think?
I've actually never thought about that.
They have signed control over your campus performance and the grading and everything, so I won't be comfortable with that.
And that's exactly true. They won't be comfortable with that if that professor is like that. So I'm just saying, and some of these professors, I guess, have been reprimanded. I think some professors I've heard, it depends upon whether they're tenured or not, or what type of power position they have, or how leftist the university is. But I would say in many of these cases, these professors have been allowed to stay on their jobs even after spouting this kind of absolutely, supercharged, rhetoric, which I would say borders on absolutely being extreme. And I would even say, can you say, people always say, are words violence? Are words violent? Well, in of themselves, not really. They have meaning that portray, hatred and bigotry and violence and those kind of things. So the question becomes is, when leftists and liberals and socialists and Marxists and other people do it on an academic institution, it's looked as, well, it's just someone just expressing their opinion. It's a little extreme, a little radical, but it's just their opinion. Now, when you do that, okay, on the right, and you do it from the political side, all of a sudden now, guess what? As I said before, the B word comes out bigot, the R word comes out racist, the I word comes out insurrectionist. All these words come out, phobia, phobic, all these things come out. And so it's not a level playing field. The narrative changes. When you're on the left, it's just an opinion. When on the right, it's an attack. Anyways, folks, we appreciate you taking time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I've been your host, Dr. Nasir. If you haven't done so, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell, like, share, follow us, put your comments down below, let us know what you think. What I think of my final point is, when you're right, you're right, and when you're left, you're wrong. We'll see you again next time, folks. Take care and stay safe.